The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's David Palmer, the Leo King, and we're here live for Deep Love Tarot for the week of July 1st through the 7th of 2019. I hope everybody said rabbit, rabbit. We're going to need it for this eclipse time, everybody. But actually, I want to put some positive out there that eclipses finally burn out the last story. And I know that this show is definitely about tarot, and it's definitely about love. But I just want to let everybody know that the story that we've been through for the last 6 months, if you are an astrologer, has not been an easy one. And so when it comes to love and when it comes to relationships, and when we look at the tarot, I always do this show as much more of a lighthearted show, much more fun, bringing out the comedy and making it feel lighter. And sometimes it can go dirty, sometimes it can go crazy. But I want you to know that it's always about a deep spiritual message, and it's always about bringing you that truth. And before we even go into the show, I want to remind you all of that. Some people take some of this stuff a little bit too sensitive. And I guess I am a polarizing figure on purpose because I want to wake you up in different ways. I definitely am not your grandma's tarot reader, and I'm definitely not your grandma's astrologer. I'm your grandma's pool boy, here to fuck you up. Now, we do this show where we look at all the tarot and how it's going to affect all the collective first in love. Then we're going to go into each individual sign. And then, of course, we always roll these awesome Astro dice. So I always like to throw in a little bit of, I guess you could say, astrology in there. Do we got this back camera working or no? Oh, it locked up. But I'm still live. So we might just keep it going until you get things again. So we've been having technical difficulties. Mercury has definitely been messing with us like a motherfucker. And it's just been one of those. It's time to talk to you directly before we go into this reading, just about how to really view this time. I really feel that this is just one of the most unique times of our lives. I mean, I've been studying astrology, of course, not as long as some of the biggest, oldest astrologers, I guess you could say, in the world. But if you do the math, we are in a time that has just not ever even been this much intense. There's no astrological, no mathematical way to even get close to this if you look in the past. Not only with finding the outer planets over the last 3 centuries, or I guess you could say 300 years, but really if you really take in consideration that we are moving into a place where we've never in our lives seen Pluto on top of Saturn in its home sign. And even the people that saw it in the 1500s, and even the people that saw it in the 1200s, never knew Pluto was there. And we never saw it with the South Node. And to be very honest with you, and to be very frank, there's a darkness to it all. But it doesn't mean that this is a dark world or that we are going to be in darkness. It means that we are purging the dark. So we purge the dark in ourselves, we're purging the dark in the world. And when it comes to relationships, we even purge the darkness of whatever that collective understanding of relationships has been. And so this show is really all about kind of showing a fun and new way about how to bring love into a different aspect of things. When it comes to relationships, when it comes to love, we are in a place that we are in uncharted territory because we are in a new way of how it's going to be. It is not the same that it always has been. If you look at the way that the astrology has been, I mean, if you even look at the Venus cycles alone, Venus has been retrograding in signs that it does not want to retrograde in. The last one was Scorpio. The time before that was Aries. The time before that was so it's 16 Aries, yeah, so 14 was Capricorn. Like Venus has not been happy. Venus is not happy. Why do you think when you look at an old painting from literally a century ago, you're like, this is so beautiful? Well, go look at where Venus was retrograding. So we're at a time where people put makeup on every day, or people put filters on their Instagram to make things look better, because guess what? We're in a time to where Venus will do anything to feel and look beautiful as it can, including in relationships. Try to make it look better. Try and think that the relationship can go better in a different way. But we are in a time where the rules and the old systems, and it's funny as I'm looking at this enchanted spell oracle deck of this old kind of patriarchal way of understanding of how partnership is, I'm going to just give you all the truth bomb. It's done. And we are all do not know what it looks like with the new world in relationships, because especially when it can involve this whole divination tool of astrology, or whether it is tarot, and you start to realize that there is a deep truth to fate, to destiny, that makes things really difficult for people. And we live in a world where we actually define ourselves by not fate, but by what we can try and control. And I think that that is the biggest and the hardest part of what this purge is that people with the South Node on Saturn and with Pluto will definitely do everything they can to control the situation, to not let go, to hold on, that it can be worked out, that I can hold on, that the concrete will hold this thing, that the anchor will be stuck and it will hold the boat. But with Cancer being a sign that deals with water, that deals with emotions, have you ever in your life been able to be the same emotional person every day? No, because emotions are ever changing and emotions are cardinal. They shift us into new directions. And so this is definitely a time that is not normal, and this is definitely a time that, especially when it comes to relationships, that a dark moon is on Venus as I'm talking to you all about this, that there is a burn happening, a burn of a lot of things with relationships. Venus is in a place in where next year it will be retrograde, which is Gemini. So Venus is bringing up a lot of weird stuff. But I think that we all need to find this understanding that we all don't really know what the new vibe of partnerships and love and all these things is, because it will be redefined by all of us in ways that we didn't even know possible. And we are all 6 months away from the true Tower card coming to the reality of what we have always thought of. And so even in this 6 months here, it can be easy to fall into the old trap of the old way and just like, that'll work. When you have to know that this eclipse cycle is focusing on Sirius, the star. It is focusing on where all the ancients pointed all their pyramids towards. It is focused on the opposite end of where the galactic center point is. It's still in the galactic center, but it is into a forward-thinking galactic center, not a past aspect of galactic center. This is us moving into a whole different direction in our lives that we have no idea how it looks. How are we with the cameras? Is it all locked up? Every time I've been asking if something's going to be locked up, it only does it when I ask. I mean, when you get to a place to where it's not locked up, maybe don't do full screen and go back to off full screen. Yeah, so we're having a lot of technical issues today. But maybe, you know what? I look at it this way. The universe is really weird, right? Like it also is a Mercury retrograde coming this week on top of Mars. Mars creates Mercury into a tyrant, right? Mercury retrograde itself can be really easy or really fun. And to be very frank and very honest with people, the Mercury retrograde since the end of 2018 have been hell. Mercury retrograde in its detriment of Sagittarius went over Jupiter, where it's like, oh, Oh, I don't like this. Then went into Scorpio and exactly went direct on the space where Saturn and Jupiter squared in 2015. Then if you look at Mercury retrograde in the middle of this March, it was the longest Mercury could ever stay in Pisces, the sign of its fall, and went over Neptune and stopped on Neptune and went direct. This Mercury retrograde is happening at 4 degrees of Leo with Mars there, while Mars is going to be cutting across the exact point to the lunar eclipse of last year on July 27th. That was a Mars opposition in retrograde with the South Node. This is not funny business. Like, the universe isn't playing games anymore. And I think that this is something where we're all having a lot of trouble with, is we've been given so many free passes. I know that might sound like fucking harsh truth, but there are no more free passes anymore. The good news is that Mars is cutting off that old eclipse. The harsh news is that it's cutting it off insanely with a Mercury retrograde on top. So this Mercury retrograde is going to cause some really crazy stuff in our lives, and rethinking and redirection, and what the fuck with Mars, they're trying to define it, but that cannot be defined with the Mercury retrograde. That's why Mercury and Mars uses Mercury to push a message, whatever it wants, how it wants it to look, its own ego's opinion, and how it wants it to see the world itself. And especially in Leo, we just want to see the best light possible. That's it. I only want to see the good. I only want to see the great. I only want to see the kingdom beautiful. I mean, look at me. I'm sitting here as the Leo King in the High Vibe Studios. Like, I want this show to work. I want all the fucking cameras to work, and they're not working. So instead of me just sitting like, fuck it, I'm not going to do the show, I'll wait it out a second, see if it fixes. If not, we'll do the show from this point right here. But there is this part where this is not like child's play. Life is not child's play, even though that is what the sun represents, and that's why we are tropical astrologers. Like, it's based upon a sun-based astrology. But with Saturn in its home sign, amplified by Pluto, amplified by a south node, with a lunar cycle that is going to be a solar lunar cycle, Cancer, dealing with the moon, this is not Leo energy. This is not sun-based energy. This is a solar eclipse and a moon-based energy. So we are in moon and Saturn world. We're not in child's play. We're not in get out of jail free card. Saturn was in Sag years ago with the eclipses with Leo. That was playtime. Does it work? All right, so let's roll with it that way. So anyway, we got it working. These are the Astro dice, and we are going to roll with the show. So we are using the Astro Black Moon Astrology card deck as for the collective, and I'm only doing 3 cards because of timing. I have a live show tonight, if you all didn't know, at 5 p.m. about these eclipses. If you want to join, you can join now. Go to highvibe.tv. You'll see it right there under live events. I'm going to be live on highvibe.tv, and if you make an account and you do purchase it, you can also download the High Vibe apps, which are on the front of highvibe.tv. If you go on your phone, on the mobile, and you can download the app, and once you've purchased it, you can watch it live on your phone or on a computer, and it's really cool, and then of course you have access to it forever. Then we are using the original Rider-Waite, and you know, it was interesting. I have a book about the whole story of the Rider-Waite, and a lot of these cards are actually based on pictures and the woman who actually drew these, and she actually did like old art style, like actually had people come into a studio and like took pictures of them and took their energies. Some of these archetypes are actually based off real people, believe it or not, that were actually around in the late 1800s. She never got to see the flourishment of this, especially I think it was 1914 through 1918 when all this stuff came out. And of course she passed away, and it was the mid 1900s, like around the 40s and 50s, when there was a resurgence of this tarot energy, and I'm just sending some love to her for that. And then I'm going to be using this oracle deck, which I've been really enjoying, and it's a sacred oracle deck, and I really like it. It's got the Eye of Horus on it, and I've been getting a lot of crazy truth off these cards, and I'm putting this as this. So we're going to do the readings different today. Usually I do a 5-card spread. We're going to do a 3-card spread. Now, everybody likes to do past, present, future. I hate that shit. I think that's for like whiners. We're going to do a little different. We're going to use the Black Moon card. The first card is what in the hell is going on in the love life. The second card is going to be the challenge. And the third card is going to be how we're going to handle this and where's it all going. All right? Let's have some fun. Where is the collective going with love this week? Okay, big deal. We got the 6th house of routine. So number 1, in love and relationships for everybody in the collective, what makes sense in your reality? What makes sense in your day-to-day life? And more importantly, what isn't so stressful, or what is stressful? It's kind of like there is this part of ourselves that has to find operational aspects. Relationships can be beautiful, they can be great, but if they can operate, that's a whole different thing. And that's where the operation level comes into play. It's like, can this operate? It's like, can you in your love life right now come into a place that makes sense for your life? What life do you want? What reality do you want? Does that make sense for your life? Like, to be honest with you, I probably would not end up with somebody who, I don't know, wasn't into astrology, wasn't into tarot. I'm going to be honest with you. If they thought I was into that, how would I be able to operate that way? It's not going to work. And that, you know, for people who are in here, or people who watch this, or anybody who doesn't even follow this shit, guess what? That is kind of a weird aspect. Like, are you really 2 different lives where you're totally like not even on the same page? You're not even on the same routine. You're not even on any of that. You're living like 2 ships in the night, passing each other, maybe not physically, but maybe spiritually. The opposite of the 6th house is the 12th house. So this is really about what operates and what's healthy too. The 6th house has to deal with purity, has to deal with health, has to do with the virgin, has to deal with this true feeling of that it is birth from a place of purity. Because the 6th house does not want to deal with anything impure, as it is harvesting good things, food. It is harvesting things that are going to be good for our life. If this is not harvesting anything that's good, even no matter how much your love is attached, no matter how much you want to emotionally be in it, if it's not healthy for you and it's not good for your life, that's your answer. The challenge that we got with this is the 8 of Cups. The challenge we got for this is the 8 of Cups reversed. That we are all having troubles leaving the past behind. That we just can't let some part of it behind. I've been saying, and somebody wrote on one of my Facebook comments this weekend, and I just gave this person a reading, I guess, and I really appreciate their comment, how I told them that they need to cut the head off the snake, and that, yes, it's a hard process, and there is grieving and so forth, but you still got to cut the fucking head off the snake. I'm sorry to say. Like, there's a point in life where just in life, you know what? Like, this shit is venomous. It is not good for your energy. It is holding you back. And what's interesting about the 8 of Cups is there's always a new moon, which in my opinion is a solar eclipse, up in the horizon, forcing the man to walk towards this new beginning, forcing you to walk to this new energy. But with the reverse, the challenge is that this part of you is just like still wanting to hold on to some of that old venom. Especially with this 6th house after this, guess what? Do you really want to just keep injecting yourself with venom? You know what? I wear eye drops a lot because I used to be a stoner, and that's the truth. And for some reason, I got addicted to that shit. And now I just like having eye drops in my eyes. It'd be like me taking venomous eye drops that had like total venom and just every day going, yeah, give me some more of that shit. There's no point. How we get through this and where the universe is asking us to go. And I also like to do the last card is spiritual advice, is divine masculine. We got to take some initiative here. And what's interesting about this card is this is the sun and the moon, but it does look like Taurus. But I think that there is this sun is with a crescent moon. And that we need to put our emotions smaller and put our light and our strength more forward. This is an emotional time that is going to bridge us to where we need to take our strength. The light will always be the one that takes us where we need to go. The moon is a reflector of the light. It does not hold light itself. Without the sun, it doesn't reflect. And this is an issue that's, I think, going on in our lives, is that we are afraid to see what this new reflection will look like of the light going into a different place in our life, in our love lives, in our relationships. So that's... Oh, yeah, that's cool. So let's see what the Astro dice have to say. We're going to be fixing some of the cameras here. We got the North Node in Aries. Is that the 9th house? Yeah. We need to go into new places and re-identify into new places. Because if we keep staying in these relationships in the same environments, what we've known, what we already understand, we're not going anywhere. And to be honest with you, I think that this Deep Love Tarot is more powerful than you might realize on this eclipse because of the fact that 6 months from now, during the next eclipse cycle, is going to be when Saturn and Pluto come into their first conjunction point in over 37 years. And the last time was in Libra. And this means that for 35 to 37 years, we have been in a relationship hellstorm. And I've been trying to say this for a long time. And I said in my magazine this year that not one person on the planet, whether you're married, whether you're locked in, whether you're the Pope, married to the church, whatever it might be. And look at the Pope's chart. I don't know if he's going to make it through the year as far as like being it. We might see another Benedict situation. But there is nothing in life, relationship-wise right now, that if it is not good for you in your life, the universe is whacking the holy camole out of it. But I think that the universe has already done its job, that we need to do our jobs now with the 6th house as the routine. We need to finally make the purge instead of like still having some sort of old attachment, whether that's you're still following them on Instagram, whether that's still checking in on their situation, whether that's still having some sort of emotional tie. Like this is where you move on. Those are memories from the past. And with this divine masculine is where the universe is asking for us to go. You must take initiative. You must go strong forward, and you must reflect emotions in a different light. The emotions will only change when the sun moves into a different position that will reflect a different vibration into those emotions. That's how emotions work. That's why Cancer is the 4th house. That's why it is after Aries, where the sun is exalted. Because there is a part in our lives where the light is first, and the light will reflect our emotions when we put it into a different place. Huh? Oh, well, my necklaces are right all over on top of it from hours of moving around trying to fix these damn cameras. Usually I come on this show like having a good time, but Mars is on my sun. So you guys are getting the military leader of Leo today. So I hope you guys are all prepared. I remember when I was in boot camp and I'd wake up in the morning and be like, oh, I think the drill instructors would be really nice today. And then they'd come out and start yelling and I'd be like, oh, fuck. But at the end of the day, they taught me the best shit in my life. Today has made me a survivor and made me get where I need to go in my life. So I'm just going to let you know that I'm channeling my inner warrior for you all today, and I'm not going to fuck around. All right. We got this camera working or no? Oh. All right. So if you're gonna pull in, I'm gonna get prepared. We're not gonna be able to do this show the way that we thought we were gonna be able to because we are having lots of technical difficulties, but it is what it is. That. I wonder how we're gonna show. I'll put the cards up here. I'll show you the dice like this. And then we'll just roll that way. How's everybody in the chat? We always like to do a chat room. I have 1 hour until I have to go. So we're going to have to go through these really fast. There's 12 signs. I'm not going to be able to give 10 minutes for each sign. I'm probably going to be able to only give like 3 minutes a sign. So we haven't even started yet, Elizabeth. We're just about to start right now. So let's see here. All right. You guys ready? Oh, shit. I'll be honest with you all. It's been a rough one for me, but I'm learning to get through this. Like, I don't have a good week ahead of me. I have a lot of fucking shit to deal with this week, and I have a lot of pressure. And I know that we all do in all of our lives, so I'm not trying to put this on myself. I'm trying to let you know that I'm with you all. And this is aside from just love, right? I know that this is a love show and everybody wants that, but, you know, Like, this is just a time that's not normal. And it's going to be heavy emotional for people, and people are going to be expressing their emotions, and Mars and Mercury are going to be creating overdramatic fucking Leos in everybody. Welcome to what it's like, everyone. I live my daily life like that. You should see what I'm like in the car. All right, Aries, are Aries ready? As Craig would do. All right, Aries. Aries, your first card that you got is the 10th house card. This is definitely where you need to pay attention to in your relationships that are going to help you go into the place where you need to go, especially with your long-term goals. There's a big issue, I think, going on with Aries right now, where maybe either you're putting your work before everything else, or you're not putting your work ahead and you're putting relationships in part. You need to have a good balance here. I think that this is a time for you to really pay attention, Aries, when it comes to putting together, to have the whole world together. You can have a relationship and you can have your work at the same time, but you can't have one or the other in just one way. You got to find a balance, or maybe you need to find somebody who's in the same line of work as you, because maybe this is not working. Like this whole kind of like, I do this, you do this, or da-da-da-da-da. Or if you're single right now, you need to really see like, where are your goals? What kind of relationship goals do you even have? If you're not defining them, or you're just being a loosey-goosey out there and just fucking everything that walks, and you're not really putting a goal to it, are you going to be able to actually access the world of love that you're looking for? Your challenge is the 4 of Swords reversed. There's definitely a lot of stress going on because there's too much not paying attention. There's not enough meditation. There's not enough processing things. I think that you're going way too fast, that you need to slow down, that you need to take some time, and you need to process what's really going on, because it's almost like you're spinning out of control because you don't know exactly where to root yourself or where to go. The 4 of Swords is always a card that is about always a knight that goes into its own coffin to sleep, to know the appreciation that it's alive after battle. With it reversed, you're not appreciating where you've been at. You're not appreciating even maybe what you're for. Sometimes 4 of Swords reversed is somebody who literally doesn't even know. Like a knight knows when it goes to battle, it makes a coffin to know, if I die, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to leave my kids with this. I'm going to do this. But when it comes back in the 4 of Swords and it sits in that coffin, it's like relieved that it survived. But there's a part of this when it's reversed, Aries, that it's like you don't even know what the hell you're even creating here. You don't even know where you're going. You don't even have a coffin to go lay in. So when it comes to this love thing, until you've defined those things, especially with the 10th house, and especially with a 4 of Swords reversed, without definition, and your own definition, and not definition from somebody else, but your own definition, how do you know where this is going to go? And if you're single, this is a time where you need to put all these things into understanding. And you did get the trust card as where the universe is trying to have you go. You need to trust more in your own process of your ability to get the world you want, and more importantly, about understanding that if you just take the time to find the place where you're going to rest in your soul, where that you are going to have a place that if you die, that if you do come back from battle, whatever it is, that you have a place that you know where to go. Because this also could be, if you're in a coupled relationship, that you actually are freaked out, that you're afraid about losing it all. Especially with a north node in the 4th house, with a south node in the 10th. Aries, sorry to say, this is not the big career thing that you expected it to be. This is definitely you having to look at the roots of your life. And in your relationships, this is you looking at the roots and how you build your relationships. Your Astro dice is you got Pisces in the 4th with the North Node. So you do need to focus back on home, but you need to focus on your spiritual home. Where is your spiritual home? And do not pick a home without spiritual energy at all, because it would be the worst thing that you could ever do in your whole entire life. Because it would take you to a reality that is literally taking you away from your soul. And maybe look at the last couple years in your relationship life, Aries, because maybe you have taken yourself away from your spiritual home and yourself, and that also could be by where you live physically. So you need to focus back on getting back to spiritual home, which in my opinion is 4th or 4 of Swords reversed. That's a big one. So relationships can take us far away from that. And I think that that's a part of you that you need to be honest with yourself with, if you're really getting the achievement of what you really want, or is it the achievement of something that's pulling you away from your deepest spiritual soul? Ooh. Taurus, we got the water element. This is a great time because there is a lot of feelings coming back in your life. I feel that there hasn't been a lot, and you're really really good about sensing what's happening, really understanding of where things are going emotionally. And I think that this is a time for you to not be afraid of listening to what your gut says. Like if your gut's not feeling something this week, that's okay. And I think, we've been pulling a lot of like devil cards for Tauruses. We've been pulling a lot of like more edgier stuff, but this is definitely a time when it's like, you definitely need to not even pay attention. You already are attention, but it's like, maybe there's an oversensitivity. And I think that this challenge will bring it up. Yeah, you got the 8 of Swords reversed. So I think that, there's this feeling that you're going to get trapped in something really bad when you're not. I think that you're afraid to kind of go into new emotional waters. Because I think that there's a part of you that thinks that, oh my gosh, if I go do this again, I'm going to fucking go into a horrible situation. It's going to take me down. So there's almost like this feeling of bad juju. It's kind of like going down to New Orleans and going down into like a voodoo doll shop. Like, oh my God, if I go in that shop, I'm going to get bad voodoo if I go into this relationship, or however this relationship is going and where I'm sensing or whatever. It's like, don't pay attention to those senses. Pay attention to the senses of what's beautiful. Like you are not going to go into some horrible trap. You're the only one who creates your own traps, by the way, anyway, not other people. So this is a part where you need to like remove the stigma, and especially with the water element, cleanse this toxic energy that is actually kind of like holding you from greater love, holding you from a greater sense. And your spiritual advice card you got is, and the way to go is the talisman, which there is an opening doorway right now in your life by doing this cleanse. And I think a lot of this is just an easy cleanse. Like you actually got a great spread here. I mean, it's literally a time for you to realize that like your own inhibitions of things feeling like they're going to be bad or toxic is actually what you can cleanse, and you will unlock every door that you've ever wanted. And you are the opener of whatever door that you want. Imagine opening doors without the feeling of like, what's behind that door might be scary, or what behind that door might take me down. Guess what? When you're in a place where that's obviously different, guess what? When you open the doors, there's nothing but beauty behind all of them. Your Astro dice for this week is the moon in the 8th house in Libra. Yeah, it's like learning to penetrate a relationship emotionally more, learning to connect deeper emotionally more. But I think even more than that, for you, it's like learning to trust relationships even more emotionally. And I think that for you as well, sure, the moon is a little bit, of course, at its fall position in the 8th house, but there is this awesome aspect of like, you know what, maybe you do need to go in deeper. Maybe that you're not putting your enough deeper emotions in. If you're in a partnership, maybe that's the issue. Maybe you've pulled out emotionally so much. Maybe you do need to go more in. If you're single, maybe you're terrified of going in and just even tasting a little bit deeper emotion. But that would unlock every door for you in your life, which would be pretty fucking amazing. Gemini, Gemini, Gemini. Gemini got the 8th house, endings and new beginnings. This is definitely a major week because this is coming to an end a lot of situations in romantic and love and romance life. And also it is a very deep 8th house transit, which is where the South Node is for all of Geminis. Geminis need to realize that this is a time in your life where nothing is permanent. And that's what the 8th house teaches, that flowers die. People die. Cows are going to die one way or another. The lights are going to die in front of me. The light bulbs are going to go out. My hair's dying. I'm getting a bald spot. My hairs are turning gray. And I think that Geminis have a hard time with 8th house transits. That's why Capricorn is your hardest lesson wherever it is in your chart, every sign. And Gemini's issue is impermanence. Because Gemini likes the youth and the spring, and to watch the spring of the flowers come and the excitement of life. But things all do come to an end. And you're in a place in relationships where there's major endings and major new beginnings that come, but it comes through the ability to accept that. The challenge with that is the Ace of Pentacles. You're not ready to let go and move into a new, better place, physically creating and more of your own value and your own worth. So it's almost like you're inhibiting your ability to manifest what you really want in your life outside of the thing that maybe that you don't want to end, by realizing that you do need to start fresh and new, that if you do start fresh and new, that you have all the gifts in the world waiting for you right there. It's like the universe is literally trying to hand you a whole new life. Like, don't worry, that one didn't work out, this relationship didn't work out, your love life didn't work out in this way, but I've got a much more amazing situation for you. But it's almost like, fuck that, I don't want to look at it, I'm not ready to face the ending of it. It's too emotional, it's too dark, it's too intense. It's like, this is all in your head, you're Gemini. Especially with all this Cancer stuff, guess what? This is second house. This is about learning to bull up. To find your strength within your own self, independently. Second house deals with your own throat chakra. Not down here in the 8th house of what you connect somebody else with. That's why we have hands, people. And your spiritual advice is the divine feminine. That through the process of rebirthing, especially when it comes to endings and death and so forth, realize that you are birthing something, and the divine feminine is about birthing something. And in this divine feminine card, there's 2 moons to the sun that's comforting the sun, that you need to comfort yourself. It's okay that you are going through a lot of transformation. It's okay that you're going through a lot of watching things die. But it is a time for you to realize that through that process of death at the end of a hospital is a birthing of a baby at the same hospital. And that you need to be comforted in knowing that this world works in that way. That the divine feminine is this beautiful way of, that we attach endings and death and things that don't go right as this horrible process. When this is about you accepting the process as something beautiful and giving your own care and your own beautiful love and compassion to it in a new way and comforting yourself. You did get the South Node in Gemini in the 5th. So this is definitely saying that you need to look at a bigger picture in the world instead of your own happiness. Because with the South Node in the 5th, you can get too attached to your own environment of love, your own happiness, and your own way of seeing things, especially since you are a Gemini, that it's almost like the environment that you're in is definitely a happy one or has been happy, but with the North Node in opposition to that in Sag in the 11th, that there is a wondrous new world out there for you and that you don't even know what it looks like because you're not even going out there to see it. And if you are, you're not going far enough. You're doing it with energies or with people that are in the same energy, like calling people you've already known or seeing things that you've already known. This is literally about going into a whole nother horizon, and that might be scary. But guess what? There's a whole nother world out there waiting for you, Gemini. Cancer, Cancer, Cancer. We got the Jupiter return of benefits. So this is a really good card. This is definitely a time about abundance, especially when it comes to really remembering that there is anything that you want to have possible. But there's a lot when it comes to Jupiter returns because there's so many things that you can have. There's a lot to try and understand right now. There's a lot of directions to look at, but every road right now has a positive outcome. And I think that for Cancers, especially with this eclipse cycle and especially with this energy when it comes to love, with Jupiter return, with all the benefits, is that you are at the ultimate reset point in your life to where from this point forward, wherever the journey goes is amazing. But also I think it's important to really take a look at when it comes to Jupiter returns, and it's important to know that this is a very rare once in 12-year rocket launch. In this case with the solar eclipse, this is a once in every 18 to 19-year rocket launch of resetting yourself like a computer. And that what programs do you want to open? With Jupiter, there is this aspect of us, and especially with Cancers, you need to open up to looking at all possibilities and looking what is the best for you in the long run, because Jupiter is about to go take, in the case of in this card, a 12-year cycle where will return back to its own Jupiter of where you're here to learn. Maybe look at your own Jupiter in your own chart, Cancer, this week, because maybe that Jupiter is going to teach you everything about where you should be going in your life. Your challenge is the King of Swords reversed. So it's like you're not feeling as empowered, especially with your mind and exactly where you're going. And especially that can go with a Jupiter aspect, right? Because Jupiter is kind of not very sharp when it comes to as far as mental aspects. It's much more philosophical. It's much more, based off fire and, kind of imagination and where we could go. And there's more coulds and woulds and shoulds than, hey, King of Swords, I know exactly what I'm doing. And this is where I'm going. But I think that the challenge for you is realizing that you actually do know where you're going. You actually do have the power to do it, and you do have the power to be very strong and know exactly where to go. But this is the challenge of like owning that power, and owning that power of the King of Swords is a little cold. The King of Swords is so sure on what it's doing that it doesn't have time. It's looking directly at you. Like, it's like, the King of Swords looks right at you. Like, it's like, whoa, okay, I don't know if I can keep doing the eye stare thing with you. It's like, okay. It's like kind of playing an eye stare game with life. And especially when it comes to your romantic life and everything, it's like the challenge is like maybe not feeling empowered, or maybe feeling like there are mental things of unclarity or situations that have happened that have brought you where you're not at your full mental strength. But you need to realize with this Jupiter return and all the benefits right now that you are benefic in every way. So why don't you put your mind into a place that is in the place of going what you want to do and communicating what you want to do and being very clear on what you want, because it will help you so much, especially with the spiritual advices. You got the affluence card, that you could be affluent in every way. But also I think when it comes to relationships, you have to use this King of Swords reverse correctly and not put affluence to people that don't actually have it. Like, there is this attachment, especially with the challenge of this King of Swords, of not seeing maybe people of their kingship or of their true power. And I think that this is where the affluence comes of you realizing that you are at this beautiful place to have the most amazing affluent life. All that can fuck it up is in your mind, and not owning the power of that exact knowing of what to do. You have everything supporting you in every way, but also affluence is funny. Some people can find affluence in like a person who really is a creepball, or people can find affluence in anybody that, really is more of a fraud. I think that it's very important for you to understand to turn your mind in the right direction, because everything is possible at this point. And the most beautiful energy that you've ever wanted in your life is here. But it's about making sure that you don't let your mind, and more importantly, let your non-confidence in your mind's ability to decide on what you really want in your life, or look at things from a very clear and mental place. You did get you got Cancer Moon in the second. Yeah, so this is about picking the most best position of value, of self-worth emotionally. And you're lucky because the moon is in Cancer. That is your own element, and how funny we are about to have a solar eclipse with the moon in Cancer. But it is about the second house, your own abilities, your own abundance, and what's the most valuable place for you to be. Where are you going to be able to create the most in your life is where you need to place yourself, and what relationships. Because if you're in relationships that you're not creating, or you're not manifesting, or you're not building, or you're not growing, then that's not a place to be. And I think that this is for you having to make a very big choice in your life when it comes to partners and when it comes to love, about putting yourself in the best place possible that's going to give you everything, the affluence you need and all the benefits, without you feeling like you are not mentally in a space of confidence. All right, 3:27. I got 30 minutes, 7 signs. 3 more minutes a thing. We're going to check the chat real quick. It is hot in here, by the way, everybody. Somebody's asking, can I do on my iPhone through website? You have to go on the website first on highvibe.tv, sign up, and then there is no subscribing through the app. No, we're about to do Leo right now. I'm just taking a minute because it's really hot in here, and we spent an hour trying to get the show up, and it's still not working correctly. All right. Leo. Jupiter, abundance. This is definitely a time for Leo, especially since Jupiter is the 5th house ruler. There is so much love to be had. And I think that for you, love is the #1 answer to all things right now. And I think that this is a time in your life where you are expanding your love. You're opening up to abundance that you haven't cracked open to yet. It could feel like a long time since the last time Jupiter was in Sagittarius of love was 2007. So there is this awesome new door opening for you in love. And I think what the challenge this week It has to do with the Hangman. It's like you kind of feel stuck. You feel like there's a lot of things that maybe you're stuck in right now, or you feel like you're in a world where there's a lot of pressure on you and you're not able to move. But I think that you need to realize that Jupiter is here to push out anything, that love is the answer to push you through anything. And I think that this is a very important time for Leos to realize that things look stuck. Things look like you are at a place, but remember with the Hangman, you get in these stuck positions to actually get an observation of enlightenment. That God is not trying to fuck you. That God is trying to help you understand what's really going on in all your life and see what's really there. And literally with Jupiter, you can have whatever you want with your love life to go the way that you want to, and to help you push through any of the troubles or tribulations or feeling stuck when it comes to love in your life. And focus is your spiritual advice, that you need to aim exactly where you want to aim and you'll get there. That staying focused on your love goals, in your relationships, and more importantly, just in your overall life right now, is going to get you through the craziness. And that Jupiter will help you truly open up all these doors and have all the abundance that you need. But with Jupiter and the Hangman, you need to realize that the abundance is coming from the challenges that you've been through in your love life. The challenges are offering you all of the wisdom, and it's then taking that wisdom, especially, this is very Sagittarius with the bow and arrow, about aiming in a new direction from where you've learned. Let's see what these dice have to say. Saturn in Libra in the 12th. Wow. So this is about choosing relationships and also by letting go of relationships. So it's choosing relationships that come from a higher realm, that don't come with baggage. But Saturn is exalted in Libra. So there is this aspect of like making sure that right now that when you choose relationships that it comes from a place of knowing what your subconscious energies are, what your subconscious past triggers are, and learning to clear those out. Saturn wants to clear out 12th house issues, especially in Libra exalted, and wants to rebalance your 12th house of your subconscious, your conscious, your unconscious, and your conscious. But it also is a spiritual house, choosing and defining yourself off true spiritual relationships instead of ones that confront as one that are not. What's up, everyone? Virgos, Chiron. So Virgo, there's a lot of self-healing going on. I think that relationship stuff, there's definitely a lot of weird situations going on. And, you know, I think that you've done processes right now that have been positive, but I also think at the same time, like, don't fool yourself. Like, this is definitely a time, especially with this eclipse cycle, like, especially with Mercury, your ruling planet about to go retrograde, like, you need to realize when it comes to love, there's a lot here of, like, you need to go in and realize that there's some weird stuff, and you need to face it, because the only way that Chiron deals with things that's weird is it takes it on. If it's a weird situation, Chiron took it on. Chiron took off the energy of people's troubles and tribulations, and that's why he was given this ultimate centaur energy. And I think that you have to realize that. You have to take on some things that are very weird right now in your life, but they could affect your romantic life. Or do you really need to keep taking on a weird situation and keep just doing this overhealing thing? You did pull the 6 of rods reversed. So, you know, it's almost like the challenge here is that, like, you're not getting what you exactly want out of a relationship. Like, it's almost like with Chiron too, it's just like, well, I'll deal with the weirdness. I'm not getting exactly what I want. I'll just take it. Maybe there's some positives in that. Maybe you're helping heal someone, or maybe you're healing yourself. But I'll be honest with you. I think that, do you really need to be in a love relationship that's just weird and always just healing yourself and healing that person and never actually getting where you want to go? That's not fun. And is that love? I don't know. In time, I think that you're out of time. That the universe is like, you just keep wasting the time or keep turning back the sands of time to the other side and going, oh, well, I'll just keep going through this again. Oh, you know what? I'll just keep doing this again. I'll just keep doing this. It's like, why keep being in a weird situation where you're not getting anything accomplished and you're not really achieving where you really want to go or what you really want to feel? You pulled Neptune and Aries in the 7th. This is definitely where, when it comes to your relationship life, don't be so blurred about what is really going on about your identity. And also don't blur your identity into a relationship. That you need to remember to retract your own soul in a relationship. What does that look like? What does it look like right now if you were in a relationship and you severed it, and what would your own identity be? Where would you be doing? Where would you be going? There's a lot that's here that's spiritually trying to understand and go deeper and reveal the subconscious triggers of how you have attached your own identity to somebody else, even if you are single, whether that's to your business partner, or whether that's to a friend or anything. That Virgos are in a place to where it's like you are having to heal your identity through understanding your identity, through making sure that you find it. That you find people that are actually empowering you instead of you empowering other people and not getting anything back. I look sleepy today. I'm just more like, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm frustrated. I'm not very happy. So I won't lie to you all, I'm just not happy. I'm having a lot of issues with tech, with everything. I'm overloaded. I got a lot going on. I'm not tired, I'm just frustrated. So, it's really hard. And, people want me to be honest on the show, it's hard. I do over 20-something videos a week, and all I get is everybody on YouTube pissed at me. That I don't care about the collective, or that I don't show up for the collective. And to be honest with you, this weekend I was like, well, why do I even show up anymore? Why does anybody even want me here? Because all I get is hate mail every day now. And I have to get over that shit. But I'm at a place to where it's like, why show up and do this anymore? If it's all not working, nobody cares anymore. Everybody just thinks that I can just make this happen for free every fucking day and trips out on me. Calls me, yelling at me. Nobody supports me in my own life. Everybody tells me what I do wrong. Everybody tells me what I'm not doing right. Everybody tells me that I just fuck up all the time. So I'm not in a good mood. I'm just going to be honest with you all. You know what I mean? It sucks. And everybody just thinks that I got literally 100 messages this weekend of you don't care, all you care about is money. You took deep astrology off. And it's just I don't know. It's hard. It's very difficult to deal with after 7.5 years of loving everybody and giving it all away and continuing to give away. It's very difficult. And I'm at a place to where it looks, I'm at this close from losing everything because of giving so much away. And it's difficult, To be honest, it's very even difficult to finish this reading because I'm in that difficult of a place right now. So, it's not fun anymore for me. I've reached a place where it's not fun. Like nobody cares anymore, And everybody left. Everybody, literally just by me making this change that I had to save everybody's souls from being taken away from another company that jacked money from everybody and jacked money from me, that they associate me as the opposite. And the lawsuits that I might have to do, you guys have no idea. I'm literally at the end of my rope here. So I'm not tired at all, And to be honest with you, I'm going to have to come back to this reading. Maybe tomorrow or maybe on Wednesday for Libra and the rest, because I have to do my best and do the solar eclipse show, and I'm not in a place to finish this, so I'm sorry. But what I'll do is I'll pull one card each for each sign real quick. For Libra, I got you as Mercury, so be smarter about things this week with your love and think about what's going to be the best for you. Use your mind much more clear. For Scorpio, you got the 9 of Swords. This is definitely a time for you not to trip out about what's going on in your relationship life or have anxieties or worries about it. There's nothing really to worry about. This is definitely a time where you can create worries about partnerships and relationships that are unwarranted. You don't need to be worried about what's going on. You could even be having old nightmares of the past or old dreams or something like that. This is you kind of purging a lot of stuff that just isn't working from old relationship stuff, and it's actually good and cleansing. For the Sages, you got the Stormy card. How ironic. Everybody, if you've been watching my Deep Love Tarot every week, Sages have been having a hard time, but this is definitely stormy waters that you want to stay away from. Stormy Daniels! No, I'm just kidding. Stay away from these stormy waters. If it feels stormy and it's been stormy, you know it's time to change this whole entire story. When it comes to Capricorns, you got the 5th house. And I think I've been saying this one to Capricorns. Go find love. Go find your true happiness. Don't be with somebody that you don't need to be. Or because, oh, you know, we live together, or now we do this, or we got a dog together, or we're doing this, or we're having a baby together, or we're doing whatever. If you're not happy, you're not happy. And I think that also if you're not happy because you're alone, or you're happy because you're alone, but you're really not, like, you need to go find that happiness and go put it all out there. For Aquarians, you got Neptune. There's a lot of sacrifice going on, and I think that is this sacrifice in something where you're losing yourself in a dream or a vision that actually is not coming true, and you're sacrificing everything, and you're starting to feel like you're drifting away from your own self. I said that if you go watch on High Vibe Jaw TV, especially the weekly horoscopes about this solar eclipse for Aquarius. And for Pisces, the void off course moon, missing. There's definitely something that is kind of missing in your love life. And I would watch your weekly horoscope on that, because there's a lot that I talk about where Pisces right now are in a really weird place with Jupiter square Neptune, with this Neptune on this north node, with this big eclipse in the 5th house. That, you know, even though that there's all this love, it's like, is it really going in the right direction? With the moon void off course, there's this energy of something just not being able to fire or connect with the right energy. And maybe where you're going right now in your love life is not connecting with certain things. And I think that you have to see, why is it not connecting? You need to go deeper into what are you missing out of it? What are you missing in yourself? Or what is the energy you're trying to connect to missing from within? Anyway, I love you all. I'm just being real. I'm just at that place, and I gotta refresh my energy and re-clear for the solar eclipse video to bring it and fix the computer to make sure that it works right for you all. I love you all very much, and I will see you on the next report.